These Trump supporters just got very rude awakenings as Donald Trump is attacking them. Quote, "I thought they were going to be targeting criminals. No one mentioned that residents, legal residents, were going to have to go through this." That's what Stephanie Pena, 30 years old from Lincoln, California, believed when she supported Donald Trump for re-election. Everything just came crumbling down, she said, when immigration officers entered her home and wouldn't let her husband leave. Hello, we told you this was going to happen. What do you think it meant when they were holding signs that said mass deportations now at the Republican National Convention? Look, here's some of the stats that we know. ProPublica and the Texas Tribune have reported that less than half of the approximately 8,200 people arrested from January 20th through February 2nd so far have criminal convictions, according to the government data they obtained. And who even knows if this data with Donald Trump is reliable anymore, if they basically gutted all the data. You know, and we've seen these videos like in Memphis where plain clothed ICE officers and DHS officials were going into like taco stands and just like grabbing migrants and treating them like trash. So we got a little leopards eating the face there, although I hate to see people suffer. How about this one right here? Abdullah Hammoud. He's the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, and he goes, "President Trump's proposal to ethnically cleanse Palestinians from Gaza and have the U.S. take over is yet another chapter in the ongoing genocide. Deploying U.S. troops and using taxpayer dollars to invade Gaza is morally indefensible. Our commitment to justice remains unshaken, no matter who sits in the White House." Now, Dearborn, Michigan, which is made up of large Muslim population that voted for Donald Trump, lots of Palestinians for Trump, which is one of the strangest things I could ever even fathom at that time. Abdullah Hammoud, who was the mayor and is the mayor of Dearborn, to his credit, although I don't think I should use the word credit, he didn't vote for Donald Trump like many of the Muslims in Dearborn. He didn't vote for anybody. I think perhaps that's almost just as bad, if not just as bad. This is what he said on November 1st, 2024. "The architect of the Muslim ban is making a campaign stop in Dearborn. People in this community know what Trump stands for. We suffered through it for years. I refuse to sit down with him, although the requests keep pouring in. Trump will never be my president. To the Dems, your unwillingness to stop funding and enabling a genocide created the space for Trump to infiltrate our communities. Remember that." So I guess it's a both sides issue. On the one hand, Vice President Kamala Harris wanted a two-state solution. She wanted to make sure that aid found its way into Gaza. President Biden sanctioned Israeli settlers who prevented aid from getting into Gaza, the first time there were powerful sanctions like that ever placed on any Israeli settlers like that. President Biden was very strong and critical of Benjamin Netanyahu and did everything he can to broker a ceasefire. But on the other hand, America wasn't able to stop Netanyahu, and therefore Donald Trump, who had always been basically threatening ethnic cleansing and building Trump towers there, and the architect of the Muslim ban, I guess everybody's just as bad. You know, it would be like totally different right now if you had Vice President, like objectively, it would be totally different right now if you had Vice President Kamala Harris there. Anyway, we go from individuals in California and Florida, Latinos for Trump. We talked about Muslims and Palestinians for Trump. How about the business community for Trump? How about some of these billionaires like Citadel, a major private equity firm, hedge fund, Ken Griffin's head? This guy's worth like $50 billion or something crazy, $40 billion, a huge amount of money. So this is what he says yesterday. Ken Griffin says Trump's bombastic. I like when they use a big word. Bombastic trade rhetoric is a mistake that's eroding trust in the U.S. Citadel CEO Ken Griffin sent a stern warning. I'm wagging my finger. I'm a billionaire, Ken Griffin. I'm sending you a stern warning, Donald Trump, against the negative impact from Donald Trump's combative approach to U.S. trade policy. This is what Ken Griffin, who voted for Donald Trump, was a Trump supporter, said, quote, "From my vantage point, the bombastic rhetoric, the damage has already been done," Griffin said Tuesday at the UBS Financial Services Conference in Key Biscayne, Florida. It's a huge mistake to resort to this form of rhetoric when you're trying to drive a bargain because it tears into the minds of CEOs, policymakers, that we can't depend upon America as our trading partner. The billionaire hedge fund founder's comments came after Trump on Monday evening signed an order that would impose the 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. He's already enacted 10% duty on all Chinese imports. He paused 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, but apparently reinstated as it relates to steel and aluminum. Griffin, who voted for Trump and was a mega donor to Republican politicians, believes the hostile dynamics caused by punitive tariffs could make long-term investments challenging for multinational companies and investors. Quote, "It makes it difficult for multinationals in particular to think about how to plan for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, particularly when it comes to long lead time capital investments that could be adversely impacted by a degradation of the current terms of engagement as amongst the leading Western countries when it comes to terms and trade." Ooh, lots of big words you're using there, Mr. Griffin. How about the fact that Donald Trump is a con artist? His whole life was conning people. You just take a look. How do you, as a business person, right? You made a lot of money, Mr. Griffin. Wouldn't you want to look at Donald Trump's past and go, wait a minute, you bankrupted all of these casinos? You bankrupted all of these companies? You had to get bankruptcy protection like 3 to 4 times? All of these companies when you weren't using the seal of the United States and the trappings of the Oval Office before that? You've been found liable for fraud, for business fraud. You inflate your assets. You hide your tax returns because you're pathetic and Donald Trump doesn't pay his taxes, was what we had to uncover in those tax returns. You run crypto scams. Isn't it you sell Trump guitars and Trump NFTs? Ken Griffin, how do you vote? How do you support this guy? What? You thought the deregulation. Listen, when Biden was in office, America's GDP was leading the world. Unemployment was at record lows. We created 16.4 million jobs. That was more than any other president in American history. Mr. Griffin, I know you know stock market returns. That's kind of what you do, right? So 60% returns, right? A lot of the ways you value your wealth are the markets, right? Under President Biden, people's 401ks skyrocketed. The stock market was up 55 to 60%. And President Biden focused on workers. So he did a bottom up, middle out, and the stock market was booming. But y'all wanted to go for the grifter who now has some like freaking golden freaking goat in Mar-a-Lago with fake $100 bills with his stupid face on it that says, "In Trump we trust." Oh my God. You know, these billionaire oligarchs, you thought you were what? You thought that you were going to get the Elon Musk treatment and get to raid the Treasury Department and all the government departments. Is that what y'all oligarchs thought you were going to get that treatment?
This episode of the MeidasTouch podcast is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. Wild Grain's boxes are fully customizable to your taste and dietary restrictions, in addition to their classic variety box. They recently launched a new gluten-free box and a plant-based box that is 100% vegan. Best of all, they take the hassle out of baking, since all items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. Now, my personal experience with Wild Grain has been incredible. I wouldn't steer you wrong. It's super convenient and all the products are high quality and super fresh. I cannot say enough good things about Wild Grain, and I know that you're going to love them as much as I do. Are you ready to bring all your favorite carbs right to your doorstep? Be sure to check out Wild Grain so you can begin building your own box for artisanal breads, pastas, and pastries. For a limited time, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off the first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/Meidas to start your subscription.
Just look at some of these other headlines. This one from the Wall Street Journal. For CEOs and bankers, the Trump euphoria is fading fast. Who would have predicted this? Deals market gets curtailed by uncertainty delivered by president's first week. How it started. Trump's support grew in America's top farming counties despite first-term trade war. How it's going. Shuttering of U.S. aid could mean the end of millions in income for Midwest farm operations. Frozen by Elon Musk's Doge personnel, the U.S. aid program purchased $70 million in commodities in 2024 from Minnesota vendors. I just want y'all to think about this for a second, right? What are we talking about here? So I started off by talking about Latinos for Trump who have now lost temporary protected status. They're getting deported. When it comes to the Venezuelans, they're getting sent back to Venezuela. Maduro's waiting for them. They fled Maduro. Trump sending you back to Maduro. Trump putting you in concentration camps in Guantanamo Bay, maybe even sending you to El Salvador. If you're lucky, maybe you get to go to El Salvador. Latinos for Trump. Then we're talking about the Muslims and Palestinians for Trump. We're talking about the business community that came out for Trump. We're talking about the farmers for Trump right there who are getting absolutely screwed. How about this one right here too? This one factory that prints all of this just shows you that Trump and these MAGAs just don't think anything through. So this is what's reporting in the Greenville Sun. This county, Greene County, Tennessee, voted 83% for Donald Trump. 83%. It's total MAGA red area. They're all going to go bankrupt now. They're all going to lose their jobs. Why? Because this was like the one area that printed those pennies. You know how Donald Trump is getting rid of the penny because he wants to do all this performative stuff to distract us from the fact that prices are not going down. They're going up. Egg prices up, gas prices up, grocery prices up, mortgage rates going up, housing's less affordable, no peace in Ukraine. I can go on and on and on. You get it, right? So Donald Trump, I'm doing the plastic straw executive order. I hereby declare plastic straws something, something, something. Okay. That's stupid. Okay. I hereby declare the Gulf of Mexico is the Gulf of America. Okay. I am hereby destroying the penny. Okay. Well, guess what? You take a look at this area in Greene County. That's like the area it's the one area where they have the material that makes the penny. And so you shut down the penny, all these people lose their jobs. Same way, if you freeze a lot of this government funding, it turns out that the red states, they rely on the government funding. Yeah, they like to rail against it. They like the boogeyman, but that's what keeps them alive. So Trump is freezing money for clean energy. Ooh, clean energy. MAGAs don't like to be clean. They like to be dirty. MAGAs. Give us some COVID. We're the MAGAs. Red states have the most to lose. I'm being silly on this video. About 80% of manufacturing investments spurred by a Biden-era climate law have flown to Republican districts. Efforts to stop federal payments are already causing pain. But isn't that what Elon said? Pain. Donald Trump did say that during the election. We're going to cause people pain. We want you to suffer. This is what Elon Musk and Donald Trump said. You must suffer. We need to break you down, then rebuild you. That's what they said. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is some ridiculous people. I mean, these people who voted against their interest. And some of them don't even, some people will admit it, but others are like, yeah, Gulf of America is what we wanted. We're better now. This is exactly what we wanted. right? Like it literally is screwing your life. But like, okay, if you go to Google in America, you'll see it says Gulf of America. So I hope it was worth it for you. Hit subscribe. Help us get to 4 million subscribers. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 750,000 followers.